Alright, in this lesson, we're going to show you guys how to actually create a K-cone limit.
Cool.
And what it's going to do is limit our rotation of the specified objects, our K-actors,
Okay.
to a certain amount. And it's kind of hard to say, really, until you really see it.
Right.
But
Well, it's like if you had sort of a ball joint, let's say your shoulder, for instance. If you were to restrict the motion of your shoulder, say, 30 degrees to either side, up and down, you would end up with a cone of access off your shoulder.
That's right.
So the same thing here.
Right, so, I mean, that's kind of a good example for our lamp here. So, let's create one first. Let's go into our actor browser.
So now we're actually going to create one of these K-cone angles?
Our K-cone limits.
K-cone limits. Okay. I'll get the name right someday.
Someday.
Yes.
So, K-cone limit, under K-actor, K-constraint, K-cone limit. And let's right-click on our surface and say, Add K-cone limit here. So that creates this guy in the top view you see. And it doesn't really matter where it is. The only important part is the rotation of the object.
Sure.
So let's exit out the actor browser.
I mean, you're going to be specifying what object it's constraining and then the amount of rotation it's constraining to, so it really doesn't matter where you position the thing.
That's right. So let's select this guy, and let's rotate it down. So
Right.
we're going to be constraining our lamp here, so we want to constrain the top chain here to only have a certain amount of rotation.
Okay.
So we want the cone limit to be pointing down.
That makes sense.
So let's select this guy, select the rotation, and let's not select the brush. Now let's rotate it down.
Oh, looks good in that view.
Yes, it does. Let's go into this view. Actually,
Looks pretty good in that view, too.
yeah, it does.
Not bad.
So let's double click on this guy and we get the properties. Down under Karma Constraint, it's still a constraint, so a lot of these properties are going to be the same, but we do have a few differences. Down here we have K-damping, which is going to dampen our action a little bit.
Sure, well, damping is going to resist motion and eventually slow down any rotation that we have until it stops. If you didn't have this on here, you'd have, like, the event of perpetual motion, like we discussed earlier.
Right. And down here we have K-half angle, and this is really the pretty much most important attribute with the cone limit.
Okay.
And it's going to be setting how much our Karma actor can actually rotate.
Okay, it's actually going to be defining the cone of rotation.
That's right.
Cool.
So, again, this is in 65,535 Karma units.
Okay.
So, a high number is better in this case. So,
Sure.
What would you like to do? Let's set this to 0 to show off the effect.
Why don't we? Let's go ahead and show them how we can use the cone to just lock down motion, or at least almost completely limit it out. We'll get a little bit of wobble if we really start, firing this thing around really hard.
That's right. So, let's use half angle of 0, so it should have 0 rotation.
Right.
And under K constraint actor, let's select the top guy right here. So we have our K actor. And
just remember, though, that angle is going to be a half angle, so if you needed like 60,000 degrees of rotation, or 60,000 units of rotation, I should say, that you'd have to actually set that to 30,000.
Right.
So just be aware of that.
Right. So let's exit this out, and let's actually test it out and see how it looks. So, compressing line maps, and let's run the level and see how it looks. Waiting for it to load up.
And we're waiting for it to load up. And here it goes.
Alright, so 3, 2, 1.
And
Here we are.
we're in.
So let's go in here, and let's shoot this guy around. Let's shoot this guy around quite a lot. And you'll notice that it's affecting it a lot, but the reason it's having... Notice how the top... Are you seeing it, Zach?
I can see it. It's just a little tricky to make out with the texture. Maybe if you back up to the opposite wall so that we get kind of that contrast effect with that bright brick there in the background. I mean like straight back. Back down the hallway.
Oh, okay. Oh,
there,
I get you.
There we go.
So let's shoot that. Let's see if we can get the effect more.
So you can see that it's actually hinging from the center now because the top has been constrained down.
That's right. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But to show off this effect a little bit more, why don't we go back into Unreal Ed and constrain the whole thing so it doesn't move at all.
Alright.
So let's go back into the constraint properties. And let's set the stiffness up really high so that we can really see this.
Alright.
And let's select this guy and Shift-D to duplicate him out. And let's create 3 of these guys to actually
So was the
constrain
low stiffness why we had just a little bit of wobble up there?
That's right. I mean, it had to do a little bit because the stiffness wasn't set too high.
Right. We had set the thing to have 0 rotation, but we told it not to really enforce that rule too hard.
Right. So let's Shift D and duplicate this guy one more time. And let's move him to the side a little bit.
Okay.
Alright, that's looking pretty good. Now let's set up the properties for these guys. Let's set the middle one that we have selected here to the second chain. Let's move this out of the way. And K-constraint actor, let's find, and let's select the middle guy. That didn't really select it, so let's do it again.
There we go.
So, now we have the actor 8. And let's go down to the last one, select our cone, and go to find once again, and select the last one. So that's number 10.
Cool.
So let's run this level and see if it actually constrains it completely like we're really wanting it to do.
Okay.
So loading up. 3, 2, 1. Alright, here we go. Let's shoot this, and you'll notice that and it's really wobbly, really hard, I mean kind of jerky.
Right, spinning a lot too.
Yeah, it is spinning a lot. But notice it's completely constraining our object so that it hardly moves at all.
That is just too cool.
Yeah, it is very, very cool.
So we've really just kind of shown off that you have a lot of power over how these things are rotating.
Right.
So how about we take this and kind of push it to another level, and let's use these cone limits to customize how our lamp is going to swing around. Like, I'm thinking maybe the base of the lamp could have a lot of swinging ability. Maybe the central part of the chain could have a little bit less, maybe about half as much, and the top could only have a little bit of rotation, in general, so that the chain itself will actually seem to curve as the lamp swings around.
All right, so let's do that. So let's go into our let's back up just a little bit. And let's select our top cone limit.
And just a quick side note, while you can place those cone limits anywhere in your scene, it's going to be a good idea to leave them close by to whatever it is they're constraining, just so if somebody else is working on your level and they come through and they're like,
sure,
oh, what is this doing here? They're going to know that it's actually constraining that object.
Right. So let's select the top one, and let's set the half angle to something fairly small, maybe something like 3,000.
Okay.
And the next one is going to have a little bit more rotation, let's say 5,000. Not 50,000, 5,000.
Maybe we'll set that one up to 10,000.
10,000, alright.
Okay.
And let's select the bottom one and change this guy up to 15,000.
Say 30.
30,000.
30,000.
Alright, so let's set this up really high. Try to get the right number of zeros. And that really sets it up, so let's run it. Let's see how it turns out.
So we should have a lot of swinging on the lamp, a little bit less swinging, about 1/3 as much actually, from the center of the chain, and then almost, very, very little rotation actually from the pivot at the ceiling.
That's right. It may be sort of hard to see, but you should be able to see it.
Right.
So, actually, that is pretty cool. If you notice on the side here, we have very little rotation on the top.
Very little rotation from the top.
And
the top's got a lot of wobble going. On the very bottom, the lamp itself's got a lot of room to wobble around.
We can actually spin this guy and make it almost do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're almost making him go horizontal.
Yes. That's actually kind of cool looking.
There you go.
So that really shows you how the cone limit works.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one more thing that I would like to show regarding the cone limit.
Okay.
And if you notice, if we open up the properties for a cone limit, you'll notice down here we have K-constraint actor 1 and K-constraint actor 2. I do want to quickly note, we won't be actually showing how this works, but we will be showing what it does.
Sure.
And what it does is, if you have two of them connected, let's just, for our demonstration purposes, let's select the top one, and for the K-constraint actor 2, let's select the bottom one. Well, not the brush. Let's zoom in here, make sure we get the right one.
Okay.
Alright, so, actually I do have the wrong one selected on the top. I'll get this right someday. Alright.
That's okay. I have faith.
So, what this is going to do is limit the constraint, the rotation amount, and kind of connect the top two, the ones that are selected.
So it's limiting the rotation in between these two objects.
That's right.
Cool.
So, just to let you guys know how that works, let's quickly undo that. And one more thing before we exit is, we're kind of missing our lava that we had before.
Oh, you and your lava.
I know, it's kind of cool. It kind of makes the level more complete. So,
okay. We'll
just quickly slap that in. And let's create a different kind of brush. This is a little bit too big. Let's set this to maybe, 512, just to have a little bit more depth in it.
Okay.
Let's turn on our grid snap. Actually, it was on. Let's go down.
Turn it on twice just to make sure.
That's right. Okay. And let's go into our side view.
Well, at least it will make the level look pretty cool.
Yes, it will. Let's move this down right about there. And let's exit all these properties and everything. Yes, it is lining up really nice over there. And you notice it's going all the way down, so that's where our lava's going to be.
Oh, yeah, you got a nice pit o' lava.
Oh, yeah. So let's cut that guy out. And ugly textures, but no big problem. And let's open up our brush builder again, cube builder, if you will. And let's set this down to, I don't know, 256. Let's build that guy. And this is what it's going to actually define our lava. It needs to be a little bit smaller. So let's set this to, I don't know, maybe 196.
Okay. Oh, so you want the lava level to actually be under the lip of the ledge there.
That's right.
I gotcha.
So we can, I'm not quite liking that. Maybe 228.
You're picky. It's going to work.
I know, I'm picky. Yeah, actually, I like 196 a little bit more. So let's set that with 196.
Told you. Being picky.
I know. Zoom in a little bit more, just so we can get this lined up to the bottom.
Okay.
Alright, that's kind of cool looking. And we're going to change this guy into a... Undo that. And change this guy into a volume water. Not special brush. Volume water down here. And we'll go to water volume.
Cool.
So that sets up the water volume. And the same as we did before, so I'm going to kind of zip through this. And we'll close this down. And
Portal, non-solid.
Yeah.
Rocking and rolling.
And let's set this to a lava texture.
Gonna find that lava texture buried in there.
I don't know.
I like that bright orange one in the corner. That looked cool.
This one?
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
And that's kind of cool looking.
Ooh.
And one last thing before we do anything else is, why don't we actually create a little rim for this guy? So let's open up our static meshes. I know, it's not necessary, but it kind of looks cool.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So let's open the humanoid architecture. All the way over here. Humanoid architecture. Let's sort by name. Actually, I think it is sorted by name, but
I was going to say, it's that whole alphabetical order thing. I know it can be hard.
I know. However you say that.
Yeah.
And let's go over here. I'm sorry. I keep messing
It's okay,
it up.
man. It's no problem.
Alright, let's go over here. Let's go down and show all. Let's go down to J railing.
J railing.
Wherever it may be. Alright, right there. So
it's like you were starting to worry. It's like, where is it? I can't find it.
I can't find it. So there it is. A little bit of rail texture there.
Okay, cool.
And let's right click now that we have it selected. Let's insert that static mesh.
Ooh.
Yeah, kind of cool looking. Let's put that. Let's turn on grid snap. Let's put that. Turn it on. Let's snap that right about there.
Okay.
That's kind of cool looking.
So now we got a protective rail in front of our random pool of lava.
Hey, it's important to have protection.
Yeah, yes, it is. I completely agree.
Yes, it is very, very important.
I can't argue.
So there it is. And let's really quickly slap on a few textures.
Yeah, because that weird kind of egg-shelly looking thing just doesn't do it for me.
Right, no, it definitely doesn't. And let's change the ceiling to the right one. And that's looking pretty nice. Let's just select these guys really quick. And let's just move these guys up with the texture mover. Hey, we're showing some pretty cool stuff, too.
Oh, yeah. Stuff that anybody who's watched the level design lesson has already
probably
seen.
know.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, one last thing. Let's just copy a barrel over. I know. I'm getting carried away.
You're doing this just to show off the buoyancy, which is a really cool effect inside of Karma.
That's right. So might as well use it to its full advantage.
Mm-hmm. So when our level is all complete and we walk through this, we'll be demonstrating everything, including the buoyancy that we actually showed a little bit earlier.
That's right.
But that's okay.
So there we have it. Let's double click on it and bring up its properties as we did before. And let's go under Karma parameters. And let's change the buoyancy to like 1.2. So
do we need to make any adjustments to the mass?
No, I think the mass is actually looking pretty good.
Okay.
So let's exit that out. And that's really our level. You want to test it out quick?
Well, we can, but we've already carried this lesson on, and everybody's really, they've seen lava before. They'll probably see it again when the whole thing's over. So let's just go ahead and call it right there.
All right. So that really wraps this lesson up.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.